There's a silent thief that robs millions of people every single day. It steals dreams before they're even born. It kills confidence before it even takes its first breath. That thief is negativity. And if you don't remove it, if you don't crush it, it will own you. But if you do, if you take control of your mind, you become absolutely unstoppable. Everything begins in the mind. Every great success story, every life transformation, every revolution started as a single thought in someone's head. Your mind is the command center of your life. It decides how you see, how you feel, how you respond. Yet most people walk through life letting their minds run wild like untamed horses, racing from doubt to fear, from anxiety to anger, from insecurity to comparison. The truth is, if you don't take control of your thoughts will take control of you. Every external problem you face is magnified or minimized by the way your mind interprets it. That's why the real battle isn't out there. It's in here. The mind is the battlefield, and whoever wins in the mind wins everywhere else. Your life is a reflection of your mental state. When your mind is cluttered with negativity, confusion, and fear, you begin to see the world through that same fog. You start expecting failure, assuming rejection, predicting disappointment. And because your mind believes it, your behavior follows. You hesitate, you hold back, you play small. The chain reaction begins in thought and ends in destiny. But the opposite is also true. When your mind is filled with belief, courage, and clarity, the world shifts. You see opportunities instead of obstacles, lessons instead of losses. You begin to move differently, think differently, speak differently. You start to lead your mind, and your mind begins to lead your life. Understand this: the world doesn't defeat you, your mindset does. Two people can face the same storm. One crumbles, the other grows stronger. What's the difference? Perspective. One says, "This is the end," the other says, "This is my beginning." It's not about what happens to you, it's about what you choose to make it mean. You can't always control your circumstances, but you can always control your interpretation. When your mind is trained to look for growth, even pain becomes your teacher. When your mind is trained to see purpose, even failure becomes fuel. You win in life when you win in your interpretation of life. Think of your mind as a garden. Every thought is a seed. Some seeds grow into flowers, beauty, strength, peace. Others grow into weeds, fear, envy, doubt. Whatever you water will grow. The problem is, most people spend their days watering weeds. They replay mistakes, entertain worst-case scenarios, feed on gossip, dwell on negativity. And then they wonder why their minds feel heavy, why peace feels impossible, why happiness feels temporary. If you want a different life, plant different seeds, nurture thoughts that empower you, challenge you, build you. Guard your mental garden with everything you've got, because whatever grows there determines everything else. This is why discipline of thought is non-negotiable. You have to decide what gets access to your mind. Every day you are bombarded by information. News, social media, opinions, noise. But not everything deserves your attention. Attention is energy, and energy is life. If you give your energy to negativity, it will drain you. If you give your energy to growth, it will expand you. Be intentional. When a negative thought enters, don't host it. Evict it. Replace it instantly with truth. I can't becomes I'm learning. This is impossible becomes this is preparing me. Mastery of the mind is mastery of meaning. And that's the foundation of unstoppable strength. When you finally understand that your mind is your greatest weapon, everything changes. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a creator of outcomes. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. You begin to see that the power was never out there. It was always in you. The most successful people aren't the ones who never struggle. They're really the ones who train their minds to stay steady through the storm. Because when the mind is strong, the body follows. When the mind is focused, the path clears. And when the mind is free from negativity, nothing, absolutely nothing can stop you. Negativity is not a reflection of reality. It's a reflection of repetition. It's a habit formed over time, shaped by what you've seen, heard, and absorbed from the world around you. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born expecting failure. You weren't born comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. Those thoughts were planted by experiences, by environments, by people who were themselves trapped in negativity. As a child, you probably dreamed fearlessly. You believed anything was possible. But somewhere along the way, the voices of limitation got louder than the voice of belief. The world started telling you what couldn't be done, and you slowly started believing it. Negativity is not who you are, it's what you've been conditioned to become. What's powerful is that conditioning can be changed. The same way you learn to think negatively, you can learn to think positively. The same way you build habits of fear, you can build habits of faith. But it starts with awareness. Most people don't even realize how much negativity they carry within. They complain without noticing, criticize without thinking, assume the worst without questioning. Their minds have been rehearsing negativity for so long that it feels normal, almost comfortable. But comfort doesn't mean truth. You can't fix what you don't face, and you can't face what you don't see. So the first step is to observe your thoughts. Catch yourself when your mind defaults to doubt. Notice when you expect the worst. Awareness is the beginning of reprogramming. The human brain is designed to protect you, not to empower you. It looks for danger, not for possibility. That's why your first reaction to risk is often fear, not excitement. Your brain believes it's keeping you safe, but in reality, it's keeping you small. Negativity is a survival mechanism that has overstayed its welcome. It might keep you alive, but it won't help you live. To rewire this, you must challenge your inner dialogue. When your mind says, "I can't," stop and ask, "Who says I can't?" When it whispers, "I'll probably fail," respond, "Even if I do, I'll rise again." Every time you interrupt a negative pattern, you weaken it. Every time you replace it with a positive truth, you strengthen your mental resilience. This is not about fake positivity, it's about mental leadership. Language is the architecture of thought. The words you use create the walls or the windows of your life. Listen to your daily vocabulary. Do you say, "I have to," or "I get to," "I'm stuck," or "I'm learning," "I'm not enough," or "I'm getting better every day"? Words are not just sounds, they are signals to your subconscious mind. When you keep saying "I'm tired," your body follows that command. When you say "I'm overwhelmed," your mind shuts down. But when you declare "I'm capable," "I'm focused," "I'm growing," your brain begins to rewire its pathways to match that belief. Change your language, and you change your reality. Speak power, and your mind will follow suit. Reprogramming your mind is like retraining a muscle. It requires consistency, patience, and repetition. You can't think one positive thought and expect your life to transform overnight. Just as years of negative conditioning built your current mindset, it takes daily discipline to rebuild it. Start small. Replace one complaint with gratitude. Replace one fear with faith. Replace one self-doubt with self-encouragement. Every time you choose a higher thought, you are re-sculpting your inner world. Slowly, you begin to notice that things which once drained you in longer hold power. Situations that once triggered anxiety now awaken calm. This is the transformation that happens when you take charge of your mental programming. The truth is, negativity thrives on inaction. The longer you leave it unchallenged, the stronger it grows. But the moment you confront it, it starts to crumble. You can't eliminate negativity by wishing it away. You eliminate it by replacing it with intention, with practice, with persistence. You stop letting your past dictate your present. You stop letting other people's fears become your beliefs. You realize that your mind isn't broken, it's simply untrained. And when you train it to see opportunity where it once saw obstacles, when you teach it to speak faith where it once spoke fear, you discover something incredible. Negativity was never your identity. It was just your habit. And habits can always be changed. Energy is the invisible currency of your life. Everything you do, every thought you think, every person you interact with either adds to or drains from that energy. And yet most people spend their days leaking it without even realizing it. They give their attention to people who complain. their emotions to situations they can't control, their peace to opinions that don't even matter. You cannot live a positive life surrounded by negative energy. It's like trying to breathe clean air in a room filled with smoke. You'll eventually choke on what you tolerate. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. Because when your energy is contaminated, your clarity fades, your focus weakens, and your spirit dims. You can't rise if your environment keeps pulling you down. There are people who bring light into a room, and there are people who drain it the moment they enter. You know exactly which ones they are. The constant complainers, the chronic doubters, the emotional vampires who thrive on drama and negativity. Every conversation with them leaves you feeling heavier, smaller, less certain of yourself. You walk away questioning your worth or your dreams. That's the power of energy exchange. It's real, it's constant, and it's contagious. You can love people deeply and still need to love them from a distance. Not everyone deserves front row access to your mind and heart. Some people can stay in your life, but not in your energy field. You have to decide who gets proximity. Because proximity is power, and sometimes poison. The quality of your life will always mirror the quality of the company you keep. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not those who criticize you. Spend time with those who celebrate your growth, not those who resent it. Seek conversations that inspire ideas, not gossip. When you're around people with purpose, your own purpose expands. When you're around people who dream, your own imagination ignites. Energy attracts energy. If you constantly feel drained, it might not be your work that's exhausting you. It might be your circle. Choose people who pour into you as much as you pour into them. Life is too short to spend it with those who refuse to grow. But protecting your energy isn't only about people. It's also about the environments and habits you create, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the spaces you occupy, and even the content you consume online all carry energy. Everything you allow into your senses becomes part of your mental and emotional atmosphere. You can't fill your mind with noise and expect peace. You can't consume fear-based media and expect faith. What you expose yourself to daily becomes what you express unconsciously. So curate your environment the same way you'd curate your diet. Feed your mind with positivity, your body with movement, and your soul with stillness. What you absorb, you become. Sometimes the biggest energy drain isn't external, it's internal. It's your own self-talk, your own resistance, your own unwillingness to let go of what no longer serves you. You can cut off every negative person in the world, but if you still entertain negative thoughts, you'll never feel free. Protecting your energy starts within. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that keeps me heavy? It might be resentment, guilt, or the habit of overthinking. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means freeing yourself from what you can't change. Inner peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of power despite them. And that power comes from mastering your energy. Every day, you have a choice to either drain your energy or direct it. You can waste it on comparison, competition, and complaining, or you can channel it into creation, contribution, and growth. You can't build an unstoppable life on a foundation of emotional exhaustion. The strongest people are not the ones who never get tired. They're the ones who know how to recharge, reset, and refocus. Protecting your energy means valuing your peace more than temporary approval, valuing your growth more than fitting in, valuing your mission more than meaningless noise. Because when your energy is aligned, your vision sharpens, your confidence expands, and your potential becomes unstoppable. Focus is one of the most powerful forces on earth, yet it's also one of the most underestimated. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you give your attention to grows stronger. If you constantly focus on what's wrong, you will find more things to confirm your frustration. But if you train your focus on what's possible, the universe begins to open doors you never knew existed. The human mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is repeated. So whatever you repeatedly focus on becomes your reality. Most people don't fail because they lack ability, they fail because their focus is scattered. They're looking at too many directions at once, trying to fight too many battles, and wondering why they feel defeated. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what truly matters and shutting out everything that doesn't. Your focus is your filter. It determines how you see the world and what you attract into your life. Two people can face the same challenge. One sees a dead end, the other sees a lesson. The difference lies in where they choose to look. If you focus on problems, problems grow. If you focus on possibilities, possibilities multiply. The mind is like a magnifying glass. Whatever you place under it becomes larger and more dominant in your thoughts. And that magnified thought dictates your actions, your emotions, and ultimately your outcomes. That's why it's dangerous to keep revisiting your mistakes or failures. You can't drive forward by staring in the rearview mirror. You move toward whatever has your attention. So fix your focus on the direction you actually want to go. Negativity feeds on attention. Every time you replay a painful memory or dwell on what's missing, you are feeding energy into something that can no longer serve you. The more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. But the same is true for gratitude, hope, and progress. Focus is like sunlight. When scattered, it warms nothing, but when concentrated, it can ignite. Your dreams need that same level of intensity. Decide what matters most and give it your undivided attention. The average person spends their days distracted, scrolling, reacting, overthinking. Distraction is the death of progress. If you want to rise above the noise, you must learn to silence it. Discipline your mind to focus on what builds you, not what breaks you. Your focus not only affects your productivity, it shapes your identity. Every moment you choose where to place your attention, you are choosing who you are becoming. If you constantly focus on lack, you become someone who feels incomplete. If you focus on growth, you become someone who evolves. Focus determines the direction of your energy, and your energy determines the quality of your existence. Successful people are not necessarily the smartest, they're simply the most focused. They don't let the trivial interrupt the transformational. They've trained their minds to stay centered even when the world around them is chaotic. That's not luck, that's mastery. The clearer your focus, the stronger your future. It's also important to realize that focus is not a one-time decision, it's a daily discipline. Every morning, life will try to hijack your attention. Notifications, noise, and negativity will compete for your mental real estate. If you don't set your focus intentionally, something else will set it for you. Begin your day by asking, what deserves my focus today? Not everything urgent is important. Not every demand is worth your energy. Learn to say no to the distractions that steal your destiny. Focus requires boundaries. It requires the courage to disappoint others so that you don't keep disappointing yourself. When you learn to protect your focus, you protect your future. Mastering focus doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means directing your reality. It means choosing to see opportunity, even in struggle, direction even in delay, purpose even in pain. You can't control what happens around you, but you can always control what gets your attention within you. And once your focus aligns with your goals, your energy begins to flow in the right direction. The power of focus is that it simplifies your path and multiplies your results. You begin to move with clarity, confidence, and conviction. You stop chasing everything and start building something. Because when you control your focus, you control the lens through which you experience life. And that changes everything. Pain is a part of life that no one can escape. It doesn't ask for permission before arriving, and it doesn't leave until it's done its work. Yet most people spend their lives running from it, avoiding discomfort, numbing emotions, pretending everything is fine. But here's the truth. What you run from controls you. Pain is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, your sharpest sculptor, and your most honest mirror. Every struggle you face has the potential to shape you into something stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. The challenge is not to avoid pain, but to transform it, to turn it into power. Pain becomes destructive only when you resist it. The moment you face it with courage, it loses its ability to break you and begins to build you instead. When life hurts, the mind instantly labels it as punishment. We ask, why me? As if pain is something unfair, something undeserved. But what if pain isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? Think about it. Every major transformation in life is born through discomfort. The seed has to crack before it can grow. The athlete has to endure the burn before strength develops. The diamond has to be cut before it shines. Pain strips away your illusions. It removes what is weak, fake, and unnecessary, leaving behind what's real, strong, and true. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? That single shift in mindset turns every painful experience into a source of wisdom. The people who rise the highest are rarely the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who learn to endure, to adapt, to keep moving even when everything in them wanted to quit. Pain teaches perseverance in ways comfort never can. Comfort keeps you complacent, but pain forces growth. When you go through struggle, you develop a kind of strength that can't be learned in safety. You build resilience, the unshakable belief that no matter what comes, you'll find a way. You stop being afraid of falling because you've learned how to rise. Pain is not meant to stop you, it's meant to stretch you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every disappointment is shaping your endurance, molding your character and refining your vision. Sometimes pain is the universe's way of redirecting you. What feels like a loss might actually be protection. What seems like rejection might be our redirection. There are moments when life closes doors you were never meant to walk through, no matter how much you wanted them open. Pain has a strange way of guiding you toward what's right for you by making what's wrong too uncomfortable to stay in. It wakes you up. It forces you to realign. You begin to see that not everything that falls apart is a tragedy. Sometimes it's a rescue. When you stop seeing pain as the enemy and start viewing it as feedback, you begin to understand its purpose. It's pushing you toward a stronger version of yourself. Pain also reveals your priorities. It shows you what truly matters. When everything's comfortable, it's easy to get distracted by small things: ego, approval, validation. But when you're in pain, all the noise fades and clarity takes its place. You start valuing peace over popularity, growth over gossip, depth over drama. Pain simplifies life. It strips away the unnecessary layers of who you think you should be and brings you closer to who you really are. It tests your relationships, your purpose, your patience, and your faith. And through that testing, you discover what's genuine. Sometimes pain isn't there to hurt you. It's there to remind you of what's real. Turning pain into power requires a choice, a conscious decision to not let your suffering go to waste. You can't always control the source of your pain, but you can control its outcome. You can use it as an excuse to stay bitter, or as a reason to grow better. The energy of pain is neutral. It's your interpretation that determines its direction. When you channel that energy into creativity, discipline, or purpose, pain becomes fuel. The greatest breakthroughs in life often come after the greatest heartbreaks. The most powerful people are not those who avoided pain, but those who used it as a stepping stone to greatness. Pain is inevitable, but remaining powerless is not. What you choose to do with your pain defines the kind of person you become. Gratitude is the antidote to negativity. It's the quiet, grounding force that can shift your entire emotional state in a single moment. The human mind has a natural tendency to focus on what's missing, what's wrong, what's not enough. That's how negativity survives. It thrives on dissatisfaction. But the moment you choose gratitude, you starve that negativity of oxygen. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means recognizing that even in imperfection, there's something to be thankful for. When you start to look for blessings instead of problems, your energy changes. Your words change. Your vibration rises. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good. It rewires your brain to see good. And when you see good, you attract more of it. Most people live as if joy is a destination, something they'll feel once everything finally goes right. But gratitude flips that completely. It teaches you that joy isn't the result of getting what you want, it's the foundation that attracts what you want. When you're grateful for what you already have, you send a powerful message to life. I am ready for more. You begin to operate from abundance, not scarcity. Instead of constantly chasing happiness, you start creating it from within. Every small thing, your morning coffee, a stranger's smile, the ability to breathe, becomes a reminder that life is still working in your favor. Gratitude doesn't eliminate problems, but it makes them smaller in the light of everything that's still good. Negativity, on the other hand, magnifies lack. It keeps your attention locked on what's missing, keeping you blind to what's already working. When you wake up thinking about what you don't have, you set the tone for a day filled with frustration. But when you wake up and immediately list what you're thankful for, you reset your emotional frequency. Gratitude and negativity cannot coexist in the same mind. One must push the other out. That's why grateful people radiate peace even when life isn't perfect. They've learned that perspective is everything. You can have less and still feel rich if your heart is full. You can have more and still feel empty if your mind is full of complaints. The difference lies in what you choose to focus on. Gratitude also has the power to heal your relationships. When you start appreciating people instead of criticizing them, the energy between you shifts. So many relationships break not because of lack of love, but because of lack of appreciation. We take people for granted until they're gone, and only then do we realize their value. Gratitude invites presence. It teaches you to notice the small acts of kindness, the everyday gestures that make life meaningful. Saying thank you isn't just good manners, it's emotional maintenance. It nurtures connection, trust, and respect. And the more gratitude you express, the more reasons you'll find to be thankful for the people around you. Practicing gratitude is a discipline. It's not always easy to find something to be thankful for when life feels heavy, but that's exactly when it matters most. Gratitude is not for the easy days, it's for the storms. When everything feels uncertain, gratitude anchors you. It reminds you that no matter how bad things seem, there's always something left to hold on to. Maybe it's your strength, maybe it's your faith, maybe it's just the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still capable of starting again. Gratitude is the bridge between pain and peace. The more you walk across it, the more stable your heart becomes. When you live with gratitude, you stop waiting for external validation to feel fulfilled. You begin to understand that happiness doesn't come from what you get. It comes from how deeply you appreciate what you already have. The richest person is not the one with the most possessions, but the one with the most appreciation. Gratitude opens your eyes to the beauty hidden in ordinary moments, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of sunlight, the lessons from failure. It transforms the mundane into the meaningful. And over time, it builds a mindset that no negativity can penetrate. Because when your heart is trained to see blessings, even challenges start to look like gifts in disguise. The truth is simple. Negativity is not your destiny. You are not here to live small, to stay stuck, or to surrender to fear. You are designed to rise, to grow, to conquer. So stop feeding the darkness and start fueling your fire. Because the moment you remove negativity from your mind, you stop being limited, you stop being afraid, you become unstoppable.